Anything, just let me know. We'll go. Okay, cool. Hey, onegaishimasu. Okay, cool. So just start with the vertical, just let the body. Let all the upper body be free as well, so much as you can. To loosen the body. As we're kind of checking on the body, just kind of notice anything that stands out, any tension, any pains, just kind of check them. Check in with the body. Now you play with the feet, so kind of coming up at the toes. And if it's quite cold, also leave the ground to make it a bit more dynamic. Come out of the ground. And just feel that you're pressing the whole foot or using the whole foot. So go from the toes. Let the weight sink into the heel. Okay, and then just plant the feet. Do the same thing and do a kind of pulse through the body down. So just feel now the feet are going to kind of absorb this. Just there. So you can slightly kind of draw the body up. So you kind of drawing up and drop it down. There. And just a little kind of pulse through the body. Again, just check through the whole body. If there's anything that kind of sticks out. Okay, and we do the same, keep the feet down, just working with the front and back direction. And it's really now, the movement now is kind of coming from the chest. So just feel like the chest is going to create the movement. Then back, forward. And now this exercise is really also about the balance as well. So just feel the balance of the body, front and back. And as you draw the body to the kind of extremes of the movement, just feel what's happening in the feet. So just play a little bit with going to a kind of full extreme, so kind of all the way over, just to the point where you feel like you're going to need to take a step, and just draw it back. And do the same at the back. Just the point where you feel you need to take a step. Just come through. Let's get this going in. Okay. So just play a little bit with it. Just kind of catch the body in this kind of, just the point where it's going to kind of go. Draw it back to the center. Good. And then just to play with the feet and involve the feet in it, do the same thing. You're going to go to here. And then at that point, just take a step through. And then get it back to the center. So you kind of draw the body back. Good. And then just take a step. And just play with imbalance, basically. So we wake up in the morning really out of balance. Or I'm speaking about myself. I wake up in the morning totally out of balance, totally uncentered, totally ungrounded. And I need to kind of get into it. So just kind of enjoy it a little bit. So, out of balance, take a step. Get back to the center. Try and be more centered, more grounded. Let the body go. And then try and catch it. And just play with it a little bit. And just play with the feet. Take a few steps forward, backward. Just feel the weight kind of shifting. Okay. Just a few steps. Good. And you're just going to plant the feet down. Don't worry whether it's kind of hammy or not, or like this kind of way. But just play now with basically taking the chest and just playing with this kind of area. So the feet are going to now stick. And you're just going to play with the chest moving back, forward, back, forward. And just see what kind of range of motion you've got. Keep the legs quite relaxed. So don't worry about being in hammy. If the stance feels uncomfortable, just switch it. So you can do this in any kind of stance. Hammy is actually quite a nice stance to do it in, but don't worry too much about it. So just work on the full range, and then just feel that you can also involve, just let the arms be loose through the movement. So there. So it's nothing kind of technical, just letting the body go. Letting the body go. Letting the body go. Letting the body go. Just do this on both sides. Just do a few on each side. Just draw it back, draw it down. And as much as you can, so you can kind of just release through the legs. So the legs are just like two pillars for the body. Just there. Try not to flex the legs too much in this case. Just let them kind of sit. That's it. Great. And just keep changing side to side. 2 or 3 on one side. There. There. And then just go to the other side. 2 or 3. And really start to now see if you can basically unlock the spine from the movement. So you can do something a bit more like a kind of wave out. Feel that it comes down from the center and then passes out through the fingertips. So now it's quite loose. There. And see if you can pass the movement all the way out into the head. And we're still really working the upper body, so just see this as a kind of mobility exercise for the upper body. So just to loosen everything up. Just play with it a little bit. That's it. And again, just notice any tension, maybe in the shoulders, maybe in the neck. And just see if you can use these kind of movements just to kind of mobilize the area. That's it. Nice. Very nice. Very nice, very nice. Great. So nice. Okay, I'm working on the same way, but just now going side to side. So you're going to now do this kind of motion. And again, don't worry about the feet now. You can draw them in a bit closer. Just feel that you're going to start to mobilize the body now in this direction. Just work in a slightly different area. The body. And the feel, my feeling in this one is a little bit lower. So it's kind of working the lower rib cage. This area, the diaphragm, this whole kind of band around the body here in the upper torso. In the kind of lower torso. In the upper body. And just feel that the hips are basically sinking down. And that really the mobilization's coming in this part of the body. Just play around this direction, side to side. Okay, just kind of mobilize the whole area of the body. And the bigger the kind of swinging motion, the more kind of mobilization you can kind of bring into the area. So just play with kind of small movements, bigger movements. Let's play a little bit with the direction. Nice. Nice. Good. And you're all doing something absolutely individual to you, which is really interesting for me to watch as well, because I steal some things that you do. Sometimes you do some really interesting things. Or all the time you do interesting things, but sometimes I like to steal things from you. Yeah, good. Oh, very nice. It's like it. Great. Good. It's actually an interesting one. Kind of doing like this with the arms like this. So you can do like this. Just clasp the arms together, the hands. So you basically glue them. You'll find these kind of practices sometimes in body arts, and a lot of the times in Japan. But basically to kind of glue the hands together. So to make a kind of thing like this. So in this case, just think about a little bit like about kind of mixing, like a big bowl in front of you, a big paella dish, and you kind of mix it like this. So just play with this kind of direction, but you're doing now, you've got this side to side, and you've got the front to back, and you're basically involving these directions together. And feel that the hips, the center of the body, and the hands all kind of work together for now. And just play with the direction. So really stupid exercise. That actually involves some really interesting principles, which is now about also extension out and tying the sides of the body together. So just go one way, go the other way. And again, don't worry about balance yet. Just think about mobility. So just try and see if you can play with the body a little bit and mobilize this area. Now this is great because you link the hands together. What you'll find is that the shoulders, this whole part of the body, I'll need to really start to mobilize it. That would enable me to move the body or to go through the motion. So I really need to start mobilizing this area. That's it. Yeah, good. Very nice. Good. So, that's it. Yeah, good. And just play with one idea in this. One of the interesting ideas in this exercise is like extension. So if you think about extension, like from total contraction with the arms, and then extension out this way, coming out. Now, just play with this idea that the extension never really goes away. So one of the things with extension work, kokyu work, we've been working on a little bit in the last week, is this idea of like the extension never kind of switches off. Even when I close into the body, the extension's still full. So just play in this case like this. I can do this in this way, like a collapse and then an out, collapse and then an out. Or I can have the feeling that the arm's constantly an extension and that it's going to roll through. So even when the arms come close to the body, the arm stays kind of full. It's got this kind of quality. And if you think about Moroto Dori, Kokyuho, this is the same kind of feeling. The extension never really switches off. So just start to kind of integrate it now. Bring the body a bit more into balance. Feel the legs are going to kind of ground down into the feet are nice and planted. And just feel now a slightly more sense of extension out. And just play with the hands. You can have them now clasped. You can have the fingers kind of in contact, or you can have them free. And it doesn't actually matter. The key things that the hands are working together with the center. Just play a little bit with the direction again. Just that. Just that. Good. Nice. So, very nice. Yeah, good. Good. And then just to give the hands a little bit something more to do, you're going to start working with a kind of figure of 8 movement. So if you think about all these jaw work movements that we do like this with the wrist, what you're going to do now is just introduce that. Now, if you kind of get a bit kind of lost in the hands or what is happening between the two, just go to one side. So now just going to kind of one. And again, playing with this idea of extension, not doing dun, but doing something that's always kind of full with the hand. So just work here. And it's as if you're winding through the movement with the hand. Just do feel on one side, switch to the other. And again, just worry about mobility for now. A little bit of extension work, a little bit of grounding work, but mainly still mobility work. So just about mobilizing the area of the arm, the forearm, the wrist, fingers. There we go. And then just go to both hands. So just play with the hands kind of coming through. And it's a little bit like swimming. It's a bit more controlled, it's a bit tighter to the body. So it's like this, and just play with that. And then the more you can kind of get into it, the more you can start to kind of take it to different places. So try and be aware of the back of the movement as well. So allow the arm to kind of come to the back and roll through. To the back, roll through. And again, if we're thinking about mobility rather than kind of structuring, just think about the maximum amount of range of motion I can get. The biggest movement to the back and the biggest movement out to the front. Just play a little bit with that, with mobility. Again, really phrasing the movement through the hands, the wrists, the fingers. There we go. Nice. Ah, great. Great. Nice. Good. And this seems totally unrelated, but if you think about a temi work, kind of coming to here and making a thrust, then you use both sides of the body to kind of find the balance in the core. So in this case, use this kind of feeling. So you can think about a little bit like a kind of striking combination from a basic kind of punch, like this. But just think about as you go forward with the front hand, the back hand's also kind of involved in finding the core of the body. So just feel that they now work together as one goes forward, one goes back in a kind of simple way. And just see now if you can basically drop the movement down a little bit to the hips and really start to play actually with this kind of movement. So it's much more now about the hips. Let the hands be mobile and just let the hands now follow the hip work. So the hands are now going to be led by the hips. That's it. That's it. But really try and include the back in the movement. Try and reach into the back of the spine. There we go. That's it. Nice. Good. Nice. Great. Great. Okay. Good. And then specifically for the hip area, just again, plant the feet into the ground, and you would just go to this one. You're all really familiar with this one. And just let the arms be loose now. So there's now no focus in mobilizing the arms, but really all the focus now is in mobilizing the hips. And just let the movement pass into the hands. You probably feel, I feel a bit more like I'm grounding down. The body's kind of falling into place. Feel a bit heavier, a bit more connected. And just let everything kind of drop through a rotation. And just let the arms be loose. And again, try and work with this idea of the front and the back. So just try and reach the back of the body as you make the movement. There's a risk with this, it starts to become very frontal because the arms are getting swung out, the body gets pulled forward. Again, just think about the ground, maximizing the contact with the feet. And letting the body sink to the back. There we go, good. Nice, nice. Nice. And just feel the arms get heavier and heavier, hopefully looser. The shoulder more open. That's good. So for me, when we do these kind of swinging motions, we do this one like this. This one really relates to Bokken. So it's really kind of strong, the connection to Bokken for me. The feeling's almost exactly the same. What I want to do is work a little bit on Joe work today. So when we do this kind of exercise, this is another swing which is basically using like a downwards arc. But for me, this one relates a little bit more to the ski work. So for me, I use this exercise a bit more when I'm going to work on a ski movement, which is based on a kind of arc through the arm this way. So you just go to this one, you're going to go, again, feet planted, shoulder width apart, just a bit wider, the arms out to the side, and then just you're going to release the arms in a swing. One goes to the front shoulder, and one goes to the back hip. And then you release back out. Again, find this kind of neutral position, and then just drop it in, find the shoulder, find the hip, release it. You go from here to here. And again, the first thing, just get the coordination with the hands, the arms. And then once you've got the hands doing that, just start to go to the focus again, the hip. So let the hip release. Hip. Down. Oh, good. Nice. Good. Okay. Good. Okay. Nice. Okay, good. The main thing in this exercise, if we're now going to like in a bit more functional and a bit more centered, a bit more balanced. So think in this case, what you get from this exercise, this one is a sense of the body spiraling into the ground. So you've got this kind of wrapping of the arms like this in the upper body, but you've got a similar thing happening in the lower body. So you've got a kind of coiling down. Now, when you do this movement, it's really important that I also kind of emphasize that. So as you do this down swing, feel the core of the body, the legs to the feet goes like this. So there's a feeling of like a downward spiral. It goes here and then jump. It's like screwing into the ground. If you can imagine like a big corkscrew from the center of the body going like drilling into the ground. And then the movement has a sense of heaviness. So by the time I've reached the shoulder and the lower back, I'm really kind of grounded, like I'm stuck into the ground. And then I release it, coil out, and then coil in. And just look for the center of that kind of coil, which is basically right in between the feet in this case. There we go. So again, it's just about moving down from the arms into the center, into the hips, and passing that feeling right into the ground. That's it. Nice, nice, nice. So we do another exercise which is pretty silly. It's the same thing, but this is like slapping yourself. So it's good for the morning, kind of wake yourself up. You go like this. The arms are now not going to start from this position. They're going to start from kind of here at the side. So the first thing I want to feel is just that the arms connect to the hip. So just start in this position, a bit like a kind of gunslinger position, and then really feel it as you're gonna move the hip. Just feel what happens with the hand. So I'm just going to kick the hip out, kick one hip, and just feel what happens in the hand. If I'm holding in total tension the arm like this, if I kick the hip out, nothing will happen. So I want to kind of release through the hands. Hands should be very, very light, and then kick the hip. The hand will go. And connect, kick the hip, the hand will go. So just very, very basic, super simple. Just get this idea the hands totally gonna follow the hip work. Yeah. Good. Nice. There we go. Nice, Bettina. Very nice. Yeah. Great. Yeah. Okay. Good. So it's important in this one. We're going to take it to the next exercise, but always the core of the movement is where you make the change with any kind of movement like this. The big problem when we do these kind of movements is tension and holding the structure, especially in the upper body. So the more I can do in this case with the arms like this, you've got the important part is this. Almost everyone's got this done. And then what most of us do is we get there and we hold the arm, and then we bring the hip back, and then we release the hand. But just feel what happens as you do that. Yeah. The arm should still be kind of loose. So just see if you can maintain this kind of looseness in the arm. So it's going to kind of go, and then it's going to go. You see, my arm will just keep going as well. The hip will stop, and the arm will continue. But if I create tension at any point, I kill that connection to the hip. And then I've got to move the arm back. But I'm quite a lazy person, so what I want to do is just move the arm in the most efficient way, which is just done. So in this very like core, very, very simple, like millimeter technique, centimeters, is the core of the kind of movement. And the more I can change here, the easier it will be to kind of make it a little bit bigger next. Just see what happens after the swing. Okay, good. That's it. Good. And then just make it a bit more dynamic, a bit more active. You get the same kind of connection. Now I just want you to feel that you send the hand to one part of the body. And you can, the easiest place is the shoulder, because it's just going to naturally arc up there. But just play with one side, connect to the hand, really feel that you're all speaking to the hand. Done. I'm going to connect, and I'm going to connect not with the mind, not with the brain, but with the hip. So the hip kicks it out. The hip kicks it out. So just do 3 or 4 one side, till you really connect to it. Boom. And then change hands. Again, just create a kind of swing. There you go. Just release it. There we go. There we go. Great. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Good. And again, this is a bit related to striking and impact work. Really feel, although I'm doing it to myself, it's got the same kind of feeling. I want to feel that the arm kind of strike into the body. So I'm not necessarily hitting myself, but I want the impact of the movement. If you think about it, the arm, if you think about the arm as it goes, it doesn't matter. It doesn't care if the body's in the way. It's just going to continue. So if the body wasn't in the way, the arm would continue through. So it's got that kind of feeling. But now when it's connected to the body, it's like it would do that. So it's like the arm itself would continue. Now it happens that the shoulder's in the way. So the shoulder will absorb that movement. But if you think about it, that movement's going to continue through the shoulders. So the next problem with this issue is a bit more subtle, is we tend to go to surface, so hitting the surface. This is really exaggerated, but like this. And then I'll get like a very kind of da, da, da. But the noise I want is something like boom, boom. So the noise should be something that feels quite deep, boom, into the core, into the core. So feel that the arm kind of strikes through in a way. This is the same feeling you have when you strike. Bang, goes through the person. Or a riminage, bang, goes through the person. Or shomanuchi, bang, goes through. There we go. Just look for something a little bit heavier, a little bit fuller. There we go. That's it. Yeah. And then if you've got the connection, you feel like it. Just go to both sides at the same time. So you go. Don't hit yourself too hard, but just see if you can kind of catch it. And just play with it. You'll get somewhere I'm totally not connected. I'm doing it with the arm. And then you get others where you just go, oh, totally connected to it. So just kind of play with it. You can also play with the connection as well. So you can let the hand go to the hip. You can let it go to the rib. You can let it go to the chest. You can even let it go to the head. Just don't hit yourself in the face too hard. But just play with it as you go with the connection. There we go. So it's something quite dynamic. Again, just more and more feel that you just ground the body center along the center line, the axis of the spine. Okay, good. So that's not involving the feet too much. It's just kind of sinking down into them. So if we're looking at kind of taking this into Joe work, what we usually always do with the Joe work is kind of move the body through. So I'm going to do the movement first, and then we'll take it into the Joe, because you might find it a little bit easier in the morning to kind of get into this. So you're going to use this kind of motion, like this. And what I want you to do is just take a posture. So take a left foot, right foot, and the back hand's going to do the swing. So it's got that, and then all I want you to do is press the weight into the back leg. Release the swing and go. And again, just let it go. Draw the body back. Just come to a kind of neutral position. Find a kind of connection with the hip. It's quite loose. And then feel that you increase the pressure down into the foot. So there's a kind of, and as I do that, the hip will sink and it'll fling the arm out to the back. Turn. And then what I do is, I'm breaking this down a little bit, but you go forward and then the arm will come with it. And then the arm will come out and back. And then just come back. And again, just as much as possible, keep the shoulders loose, quite free. Let's give that a try. So it's just now working with the feet. Now it's much more complex. You will find this, even though it's very simple, you're just doing a kind of shuffle forward. You've made it much more complicated. Yeah. And if you're not sure about the exercise, just imagine like you've got a jaw. So just imagine you're kind of thrusting through. But just try and keep the arm as loose as possible. So there's going to be no point where the arm kind of holds itself in tension. That's it. That's it, Adrian. Nice. Good. So the main problem with this when we go to ski work, I'll show you the 6 here. The main problem is we go up above, like this, and then everything falls out of the base. So in going out forward, we lose the down and the back. So when you do this exercise, just be really aware of the back of the body. And when you go down, really go down. Now from that moment, don't have the feeling that you push out of the ground, but that you push into the ground. So it's got this feeling like I increase the pressure down, and that stays down. So the body's totally settled through the movement. Try and avoid going down, loading it, and then coming forward, exaggerate it. But just get this sense like that, and when you go down, and the body should feel really kind of grounded at the end of the movement. Try this both sides, if not. That's it. Okay, good. Yeah, next problem in this case is the body. So when we do this kind of thing, well, there's a tendency, show with the joke, it's a bit easier. Just trying to demonstrate. There's a tendency to do this. This is really exaggerated, but like this. And then the body kind of falls out. So then basically the spine's kind of lost the center again. So just feel when you do this release, when you do this release again, maintain the center line of the body. So again, it's not that I'm kind of rigidly straight up, but I'm going to always feel that this kind of line extends through this way. And I'm not going to let the arm disturb that. So just get the feeling that as you go down, down. And that's really the job of, that's really the work of why we try and release the shoulders so much. Because if the shoulders are tense, they will pull the body, the upper body out of line. So just get the sense the shoulders can open and pull it through. And just play now, you've worked with the back hand, just play with the front hand. It's not quite the same as the Joe work, but it's just getting the arms working together. So just get the feeling again. You connect the hands, sink down, release it. And then just go to the other side. Just alternate between the sides now. So you've got a release down, swings back, and then comes through. So it's a little bit like doing, what's this kind of dance? Flossing or something. They do this kind of dance, and the arms are going to be at the side. And the body, the important thing now is that the body's going to be aligned to the side. So I'm moving this way, but my body's, the spine's kind of aligned to the side this way. So just feel that you're kind of here. The arms are loose. Swing, release it. Swing, release it. Swing, release it. Just as much as you can now, just enter into the swing directly. So you kind of swing, release it. Get the posture, get the balance, swing into the ground, release it. Go. There we go. And I've got to get to the point where the upper body feels stupid. So the lower body can really do the movement, but the upper body should at this point feel quite kind of stupid. This is a good thing. Stupid in a way that it's not controlling anything. It's just going to listen. Just going to listen to the hips, the spine, what's happening in the whole body. There we go. We got it. Nice. So, great. Just do one more. This is basically based on a ski. We're going to go a little bit sideways, and then we're going to come back to the joke. But this is so you can kind of go through impact. So what I want you to feel is the body, again, it's a little bit more side on than I would do a normal punch. But just feel that the arm's now at the back. I'm going to connect it to the hip. And I just want you again to focus on a shuffle forward and a strike out. So this is just so you can really focus on a kind of impacting, which is the, when we go to the ski work, this is the feeling is like impacting in this way. So I need the body to basically ground through a point of impact. So in this case, keep the arm quite loose, it's like this. And I'm not really focused on the strike itself. Again, what the body's doing. So just let the body swing through and strike out, and then come back. Swings through, strike out, and back. And just keep the first few quite loose. So kind of a area. It's going to kind of swing through this way, and then come out, and then come out. And it can be quite loose. Just play with the connection, but just get this feeling that you're going to kind of go into kind of an impact point. And the feeling is that if I was against the wall, the fist would kind of hit the wall, and the body would kind of stabilize through it. It's got that kind of quality. Don't worry at all about the fist. So you can also do this with a kind of pushing hand. Like this. There we go. That's it. Okay, good. Good. Okay, so even when you do this move, just think a little bit more like about a Kokyu movement now. So in this case, one of the problems with when we go to punching is we tend to lose the spiral work. So because punching by nature is quite linear, there's a tendency to make everything kind of quite straight and linear. So in this case, get away from the punching a little bit and just go to a kind of open hand. And I want you to just think about now pressing a spiral through. So if you think this is like a classic Kokyu position, but again, I'm just focusing a little bit more on the spine being to the side, because we're going to relate it to the ski work properly. So it goes like this, out to the side, but just feel that you're now really passing a spiral through the joint, like this. So Again, try and find the looseness in the body. Sink in and pass it through. Sink in, pass it through the body. So now breathe, passing a spiral through the ground. And really play with this. The big problem with Koki work is we go into a position and I go from A to B, A to B, A to B. But really think about all this kind of work in between, which is something much more fluid. So again, practice fluidity in the body, connection, let it drop, let it go out. And risk coming out of balance, risk coming out of the center to do it. So risk kind of going too far. Connect, and risk being too loose as well. There'll be some way you feel the body just totally stacked onto the feet and the hips. And when I get that, that's when I can pass it out. And that's the kind of feeling I want. I want the feeling the body just goes, slots into the hips ground into the feet, and then I pass that out. So just see if you can get that kind of feeling. So which is really like a heaviness, heavy connected body. That's the kind of feeling. That's it. Very nice. Good. Okay, the last few just before we go to the joke, just really go back to the strike now. And again, just go to the sense that you kind of Kokyu spiraling through it. So it's like this. And then just focus a little bit more on making a fist now. So don't worry about the kind of technical points of it, but just think about closing the fist. So as if you're kind of grabbing something. So you're just like, now it's like this. Now it's a little bit different than I would do a kind of normal punch, but just see that the body's going to be square on, going to be side on a little bit more. It's like this. So it's quite a short movement, and it's got this kind of quality, rather than a kind of hip twisting one. This is a kind of another one. So just so you've got this. And now just really focus on the connection with the wrist. I don't want to kind of stiffen that up too early. So in this case, just let the hand be quite loose. So you make a fist, but everything else is quite relaxed. So just feel that you can get this now. Something quite loose. Something quite loose. And again, feel the body just stack down into the hip. Oh, that was the wrong one. That one. There we go. That's it. Yeah, and just the last big problem with the ski work is that we go out into the shoulders. So we do this kind of work. So we push the shoulders out as we do it. So again, the weapon work's nothing really ever to do with pushing. The Bokken work's not pushing out, sinking down through the arm. The ski work's not about pushing out. It's about arcing through a movement this way. So just feel that in this point, watch for doing this, where I basically pull the shoulder out and really think about the shoulder settling down through the body. This. So if you like, you can use the other hand, just place it on the shoulder, just for the last few, and feel that the shoulder never really comes out and forward. So it's going to sink back and down. So here it's back in the structure. Bang, this kind of feeling. You'll probably find your punches a bit shorter than you expected. This is why a lot of punch work is actually very close. I would get to this distance and then I would hit. So most striking work is actually quite close quarters, especially with the punch. So my punch is actually naturally it's much shorter than I expect it to be. Unless I totally toss the arm out, that's something else. There we go. And just play with both sides. Play around a little bit with it. And it's just this idea of like a percussive impact in the fist with a really grounded body. That's it. Move the feet, move the body in the space, kind of forwards, shifting forwards as you do it. It'll complicate a little bit. There we go, Catherine. Very nice. Boom, bam. Yeah, good. Very nice. Great. Great. Okay, take a jump. Trying to unlock all that work to the Joe specifically. So obviously lots of things change. So the big point now is to really emphasize the kind of the posture. So just play a little bit with kind of just being in a neutral position, hands on the back of the jaw, and then just really pull back into the kamae. And then just change sides a few times as well. But really feel you're going to go from a neutral position and then really enter into the kamae, which is something very wide and very much like a kind of loaded position. So I'm really kind of loading the body up. So just go from a neutral position, very quite long in the body, and then just find your way into the kamae. And you can do it any way you like. Just coming in and out of it. We'll go from a neutral long position, fully engaged. Just on the kamae.
You make it turn there with the jaw.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can do this a few ways. So if you're kind of playing with it, play with where the hand is. The easiest way to do it is if you think about the backhand. I'm going to place it right on the jaw, right at the end, and then I'm really only focusing on widening the body, finding the position. So if you want to kind of make it quite simple, start from this kind of position, hips kind of neutral, and then just kind of engage hips. There. There. And if you want to kind of play around with it, just kind of play with the hands a little bit. You can kind of come here, slide down it, and then find the position. Yeah, slide down, find the position. That's it, great. And it probably sounds really obvious, but you're going from a really neutral, calm, totally neutral position, non-aggressive, totally. And then you're coming to a position which is really engaged forward. So it's really like a stance, but it's also very much like a loaded position. So I'm really loading the body up, ready to move. So get this sense, we tend, because we don't focus so much on the kamae a lot of the time, we focus on the stuff, the kind of ski work. There's a tendency to think that the kamae is quite like a relaxed state. And relax, and then I go active, and then I relax, and the kamae becomes the neutral posture. Now the kamae is neutral, but it's loaded as well at the same time. So it's got both qualities. It's not active, but it's not kind of passive. There's really a sense that I'm going to do something. And then I don't do it in this case. But just kind of make this really clear, this neutral state, really neutral. And then coming into a kind of engaged position. There we go. Super duper. So, very nice. Good, and then we're just coming to the ski, so just always come back into the kamae position now, like this. So you're loading the jaw up into the back hip. And then just to practice the ski work, you're just going to load again into the foot, swing the body forward, and just don't go into the focus. So don't yet go into kind of focusing. Just go into the idea of the lower body generating the movement. So it releases and then through. And don't worry what happens with the hands or the jaw. They can be very loose. They can be as loose as you like. The key thing is the heaviness in the body now. So it's entering into the body. And find the kamae again. Sink the body down and press it forward. And really play a little bit with the jaw. There we go. Dun. This is something a little bit different that you can play with. Imagine the backhand is going to run down the jaw this way. So it's going to do, as you do this movement, it's going to do this. So I'm going to use the jaw like a kind of track for the hand. Now, a lot of us, when we do jaw work, this hand's quite stiff, and we tend to kind of push with it. But just feel as you do this, the shoulder releases, and then it fires down the jaw. So it's like I'm firing a bullet down a barrel of a gun. So it's got this kind of quality. Or I think about archery. I think about releasing an arrow, but the hand in this case is going to just allow it to. The jaw's going to allow the hand to follow a track. So just release it through, and then get the sense that the hand rolls through it. And just play with this kind of connection, just to kind of emphasize the handwork. And you use the jaw as a kind of thing to guide it. You might find this totally strange, probably. Ah, good. Got it. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. That's it. That's it. So we've got a real tendency, I know I do too, so I can spot it. We go into movement and then we go tense with the hand, and then the tense is done. I pass tension through the movement. So the next one is quite similar, but what you're going to do is release the arm totally. So as you go through the movement this way, I'm going to release and swing it through. So I'm really going to trick the body into thinking it's going to go for the Joe, and then I'm going to go release it. So I've got to kind of trick the hand a little bit because it'll want to take over all the time. The hand will constantly, I've got the grip, I can do the movement. But I've got to tell the hand, no, don't create the movement for me. So I've got to go now, release it. So just play now with this. You're going to go, release it. Just let the hand swing through like we were doing before. That's it. Yeah, good, good. That's it. And just notice this tendency. The hand will want to do the movement, totally. It's almost designed to do movements like this, so it will want to take over. And the more I can ground it in the center, the lower body, the easier it will be. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and this is totally related, the same exercise as this kind of exercise. This kind of exercise. This kind of exercise. It's the same, it's always the same. It's always the same kind of thing. And even when we go now next into the movement, it's always that same kind of dynamic. This is why these basic, simple exercises are really powerful, because they can change the way you structure the whole movements in the system. There we go. There we go. Okie dokie. So just go now basically to a ski, so as kind of basic as you can. You're going to go to here, just thrusting through, and just here. Now don't maximize the contact in the thrust. So just quite light, and then coming back. Do 3 or 4 on one side. Coming back, arcing through. Coming back, arcing through, and then just change sides each time. So, and again, really focused in the lower body. Releasing through the lower body. Done. Really feel very heavy. Wide, long, heavy. This is the kind of feeling you want. There we go. So one of my favorite moves to do with the Joe is this. You're going to now go from the Kamai, thrust in, and then change above the head, come back to the Kamai. So this is really like a base change. You're going to go to this, and then draw the whole body in, find the top of the body, find the top of the head, and then coil the body back. Find the ski like this, coming through, roll in, find the back. Thrust in, coil in, find the back. Thrust, coil, find the Kamai. This is a nice full movement. Nice. Oh. Good. So again, you're doing something quite complex with the body. And now the main thing is this movement, this kind of movement up. Now the big tendency in this case is to lose the body to the front as you go into it. Because if I'm loaded to the front in the ski work, the body will get drawn automatically forward. So what I want to think about is just balancing the body. So as you do the thrust, think in the kamae, balance in the center. As you finish the thrust, balanced in the center. As you do this move, balanced in the center. As you come back into kamae again, find the center. So, or you can think about the center, or you can just think about the middle. I prefer the middle usually because it's like the middle's easier to find. The middle. I know where the middle is totally. So I can be in the front, I can be in the back. I'm usually in the front in the ski, so try and find the middle. And then as you do this movement, try and find the middle of the movement. Draw back. So just think about all the time, just tell your body middle. Be in the middle, right in the middle. Right in the middle of the movement. And the more in the middle I am, the more balanced I'll be, hopefully. There we go. That's it. Nice. Now the movement's got much more balance, much fuller. That's it. Nice. Very, very nice, very nice. Great. Good. Okay, good. And now the body's basically in the middle. What I want to focus on is basically length through the movement. So again, with the jo, one of the tendencies to everything to become crunched. Everything has a quality of kind of crunching down. Really get the sense in the jo of weight, right, all the way through the body. So this is kind of wide. Now as I do this movement, the feeling's passing up. So the feeling's got to release up with the arms only, but not with. So feel that as you go through, the center's going to hug the ground. Da, 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 and then da, 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 da. But try and avoid, in this case, like this. The center gets thrown out of the ground. But really feel that what's actually happening, if you look at the order, is the body moves in, the center presses the ground and releases the arms. So it's not that the arms start the movement and draw the center out. It's that the center starts the movement and throws the arms up this way. So this is a totally different way of using the body. Dun, dun, or this way. So try and get a more center orientated movement as you do it. So just focusing on that pattern. Center. 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 And just try and find that kind of motion. Again, it's this kind of center to periphery all the time, working on this kind of, this idea. That's it. And again, you've got to tell the arms, no, stop doing the movement for me. And I've got to let the center do it. The arms will constantly want to do it or start it. They'll want to start it all the time. There we go, great. So we'll just go back to a really basic movement, which is now drawing the body back. So what you did just now is like this, bringing the body in. So what I want you to do now is come to here, and then you'll notice from like the fifth suburi, draw the body back. You're going to find that vertical, and then release it with the hip, and come through with a strike. And just come back. So just work one side. So now it's left side ski, drawing back up to the center of the body, and then release it for the strike. This is like number 5, the suburi. Oh. So. Good. So in this case, make this really simple. You can do the other way, but it's going to slightly change. You can do the other side, but it's going to change. Just for now, keep to the left foot forward for the ski. So all the time, think left side forward for the ski. Find the ski, draw the body up. And then here, what I want to really focus on is now something different, which is the transition across the hand, hands, this. So you're going to go from now this position with the hands for the ski work, this, quite wide, to this position with the hands for the kind of striking work. And for the striking work, just think about bokken work. It's the easiest way to kind of think about it, but you're going to transition now to handwork. This is one of the things that Joe is great for, which is these handwork transitions. And I need to have the sense of really softness in the hands. So it's like this, this, and then really like a softening of the handwork. And then at the end, a kind of snap. But for now, just focus on this kind of softening. If you want to just play with it, just play with this. And I'm just really isolating the handwork. And they should feel very, very fluid on the jaw. So again, it's about communicating from the hip work into the hands. And the more open the hand is to that communication, the more I can pass it through. There we go. Very nice. That's it. Nice, nice, nice. And this is really this great thing about the weapon of having a big, quite heavy object, quite dynamically in front of the body. And how I basically access the back and ground that down is where the kind of training's at with the sword work and the bokken and the jaw work. So in this case, again, just think about the middle of the movement. Find this and then really feel it from this position. I can get drawn out by the bokken, by the jaw, or I can try and kind of bounce it into the structure. So that impact out is really grounded in something heavy down this way. So just think about, again, the more back and more down. So really think about back, down, back, down. And especially in this kind of position, because everything's really loaded to the front, it will always start to try and pull me out. So again, I need to really kind of meet the movement and really find the middle of the posture. Just try. Nice. That's it. Right. So normally, probably in training, we go from this movement, ski, dong, glong. We go from that, and then we usually take it into Hayagashi, or I normally do. And I come here, straight into this kind of Hayagashi. What we're going to do is this kind of, there's a middle step in between the two, which really works on this kind of quality of your warakai, just this softness in the body. So you're going to do the same movement, because this, but you're going to blend these last two movements together. You roll the body back, press the body through this way. And just play with this kind of flexibility in the spine. It really needs a different kind of quality than the basic. Just like this, roll through. So now that whole second movement's one thing, but I still draw the body back and press it forward. But it's got now the quality of drawing back, pressing out. Just play with that with the jaw. You can pause at the ski and then gather everything in and now press it forward. Got a really kind of flexible quality. Just the last few. Go, just watch one thing. This is a kind of general error. The don't is to do this. I'm really exaggerating it, but you're throwing the bokken, you're throwing the jaw out first. Get the feeling again. It comes back to the ski work. If I want to deliver a ski, I deliver the body first. So I deliver the center. And then the hand follows it. So in this case, what you're delivering is the center of the body. You're not delivering the jaw. So you're delivering, what you're trying to deliver is this. And that's the same with any kind of strike. Yokomenuchi. I'm trying to deliver the center through it, but I'm not trying to deliver the hand. The hand's useless. It's really weightless, well, almost weightless. Compared to the center power, this has a kind of impact. So Just think about delivering the center. So just kind of trick yourself again. You don't always have to do the strike because the actual core, the core of the movement is something that's happening in the center. So try and deliver the whole weight of the body through the strike, which is in a simple way. If I can deliver 70 kilos through the jo, it's going to be very effective. If I just throw the jo at them, it's going to be less effective. Boom, there we go, burn. Yeah, good. It should feel very heavy, like a big mass going forward. And just watch a video of Saito Sensei doing the Suburi, and you can get a real clear picture of a big heavy mass moving through the space. Big, wide, heavy, open, all these kind of qualities. There we go. Just the last few. And just do the last few movements really full. So just do don't think about force power, but just think about really full motion. So think about really kind of concentrated movements. Just the last 3 or 4 times. Something really heavy, concentrated from the center. Just the last few. Okie dokie, I'm a bit over time, bad timing. Okay, so this is the end of the ballet. Hi, domo, arigatou gozaimashita. That's it for the week. Apart from tomorrow, we do continue with the